Both the Huawei P20 Pro and the Apple iPhone X have great cameras, and to test these, we put them head to head to see how well they perform in identical situations. We'll start with this first image of a skyscraper, where immediately the P20 Pro image is more vibrant and has more detail in the foreground tree, but the iPhone X captures more highlights, especially in the clouds, and slightly more realistic colors. Next is this macro shot of a flower. I think the P20 Pro exposes the flower better than the iPhone X, and the depth of field from the P20 Pro is also superior with a blurrier background. Both phones capture details well, but the P20 Pro takes the better picture. Moving to a trickier situation, both phones seem to be on par. The P20 Pro's picture gets the background right and has more detail to it, while the iPhone X's manages to reproduce colors more realistically. The iPhone X also seems to have a better exposed image with more natural software processing. Now let's move to a portrait mode sample. Here the iPhone X has the darker picture over the P20 Pro's vibrant one. I think neither phone gets the colors quite right with this one, but both do well to blur out the background. The blur effect of the P20 Pro is also more pronounced than the iPhone X, and because of the larger field of view, you get more detail on the P20 Pro's image. To test the zooming capabilities of both of these phones, here's a picture of a few local hedges where both phones do well. The P20 Pro has the saturated colors and more detail in both the foreground and background, especially if you look at the leaves. Zooming in 5x, the iPhone X's photo seems to be a lot more faded compared to the P20 Pro, but in terms of detail, both are pretty neck and neck. But at 10x zoom, you can really see the P20 Pro with the better detail in the flowers as well as the leaves around, compared to the iPhone X, which loses a lot more detail. Moving to more darker scenarios using portrait mode, the difference between the P20 Pro image and the iPhone X image is night and day. The P20 Pro's image seems to be by far the better one with better exposure, detail, and subject detection. The iPhone X image seems a lot more darker with considerable loss in detail, and edge detection towards the top right of the can seems to be a bit lacking. In a more challenging situation facing direct light, once again the P20 Pro performs much better than the iPhone X, retaining more detail in both the foreground, especially in the car grille, and the background. Using the P20 Pro's night mode, the picture is enhanced even further with even more detail showing, especially the pattern on the footpath, which in comparison to the iPhone X's picture is far superior. Lastly, in this night picture of the sky, the P20 Pro once again has more highlights over the iPhone X as well as better colors. With night mode enabled, additional detail can be seen in the clouds with a reduction in noise levels. Now to conclude, I threw in a selfie into the mix. Here the iPhone X definitely has the more natural skin tones and colors compared to the P20 Pro's blown out image. Using portrait selfie, I think both phones are doing well, but towards the ear, the iPhone X just shows a slight discrepancy with the blur. That being said, I think the portrait selfie definitely comes down to the personal preference of the user. And that's really it for this phone comparison. Let us know what you think about the photos and which phone you preferred with the photos down in the comments below, and subscribe for more videos like this one in the future. Check out our other videos if you've missed them, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.